Not really. Okay, we are going to use the quadratic formula again. Do you remember what the quadratic formula is? Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So, you need to memorize this. This will be on the test. Now, here's what I'm going to do when you take the test. I'm going to give you the test. You're going to go down to the quadratic formula problem. You're going to write down what you remember about the quadratic formula. Then you come up and see me. And I will tell you if it's right or if it's wrong. I'll grade it. If it's wrong, I'll mark how much of it is right, give you points accordingly. And then I will correct it so when you take the test, you will have the correct formula. But you will be responsible for memorizing it. Yes. Later. Okay. You need to know how to do every way. You need to know how to factor, you need to know how to complete the square, and you need to know how to use the quadratic formula. Good. Good. Well, you can do it, but there are some problems that will say you have to complete the square. Hey, Jason, get back to your seat. So, let's solve a couple of these. Look at number 1. For number 1, what does a equal? Nope. A equals 1, because that's the number in front of the v squared. What does b equal? 2, and c equals negative 8. So now I just plug everything in. What is negative b? Negative 2 plus or minus the square root of, what is b squared? 4, and then I want you to write minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 8, over, and 2a is 2. So now we need to simplify what's inside the square root, so I just type in 4 times 4 times, 4 minus 4 times 1 times negative 8, 36. So that gives me negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 36 over 2. Does 2 square root? Yeah. What is the square root of, or sorry, it's 36. Does 36 square root? Yes. And the square root is 6. So we have negative 2 plus or minus 6 over 2. Now what do we do? Negative 2 plus 6 is 4, and 4 over 2 is 2, so that's my first root. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8, and negative 8 divided by 2, negative 4. Those are the roots. Okay. Take a look at number 4. Number 4 is a little bit different. Do I have to divide by 2? Well, does the 2 divide in a nice way? No. So should we force it? You only force it when you complete the square, when you move the number over and you leave a space. Remember that? If you're doing it that way, you have to divide by 2. Now, will dividing by 2 make me get the wrong answer? Probably, because it's going to be a lot harder, but it will work. But my recommendation is don't divide by 2 unless it goes in evenly. But there is one thing I do have to fix. The quadratic formula only works if the equation equals 0, and right now the equation equals negative 2, or positive 2. So I need to move that 2 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2 and subtract 2, and I get 2a squared minus a minus 15. Now it equals 0, and because it equals 0, I can use the quadratic formula. Yeah, number 4. So what is negative b? On number 4, negative b would be, it's the opposite of negative 1. So 1. So 1 plus or minus the square root of, nope, not 2. What is negative 1 times negative 1? 1 minus 4 times a, which is 2. The formula says subtract. Yeah, it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. So this negative here is from the formula, because the formula says subtract 4ac. Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. So b is negative 1. So negative 1 squared is 1. Over, what is 2a? 2 times a, which is 2, is 4. So in my calculator, 1 minus 4 times 2 times negative 15. Oh, is that a good number? Yeah, I like 121. How come? It does square root. So right now I have 1 plus or minus the square root of 121 over 4. But 121 square roots to be 11. So 1 plus or minus 11 over 4. What is 1 plus 11? 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my first root is x equals 3. And then 1 minus 11 is negative 10. And negative 10 divided by 4, negative 10 over 4 simplifies to negative 5 over 2. Remind me again what these numbers tell me about the equation. Meaning, what are roots? Okay, they're of what? It's where the graph hits the x-axis. They're also the only numbers you can plug back into the original equation right here and get a 0. So if you plug 3 into that equation, you will get 0. If you plug negative 5 over 2, you will get a 0. And in fact, those are the only two numbers that give you a 0. And on the graph, they show up as the roots or the x-intercepts. All right, so let's do... let me, hang on a second. I want to do number 9. Okay, take a look at number 9. Something's wrong with number 9. I have to move the x, and where do I want to put it? Between the x squared and the 9. If I put it out of order, why is that a problem? Then my a, b, and c aren't lined up the right way, and I might plug in the wrong number. So I'm going to subtract x, and I get 10x squared minus x plus 9 equals 0. Should I divide by 10? No, it doesn't work, and we're not completing the square, so we're not going to divide by 10. You have to put it in the correct ABC order. A is always the x squared, B is always the x, and C is always the one that doesn't have an x. Okay, so what is the opposite of B? So in this case, B equals negative 1. So the opposite of B would be 1. Plus or minus the square root of, what is B squared? 1 times 1 is 1. Minus 4 times A, which is 10, times C, which is 9, over, what is 2A? 20. So in my calculator, I do the stuff inside the square root. 1 minus, excuse me, 4 times 10 times 9, negative 359. Okay. Is there anything that goes into negative 359? Well, is 2 going to work? No. Is 3? Well, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 8 plus 9 is 17. Does 3 go into 17? No. So there's no sense in doing 4. If 2 doesn't work, 4 can't work. So we just keep going through the prime numbers. Will 5 work? No. 6 is not prime, so we skip it. 7, I don't know. Let's try it. So we divide it by 7. No. What's the next prime number? 9's not prime. 11. So divide it by 11. That didn't work. 13. So 359 divided by 13. Nope. 359 divided by 17. Nope. 18, 19. 359 divided by 19. Do I need to keep going? Why not? Well, the number I got out when I divided by 19 is smaller than the number I plugged in, so I've checked everything. When I tried 13, I got 27, so I got to keep going. When I tried 17, I got 21. That's still bigger. But 19, I got 18, so that means we've tried every prime number up to the halfway point, and none of them worked, so it's prime. But there is one thing I can take out. The negative. What does the negative become? I. So the answer is x equals 1 plus or minus I root 359 over 20. Now, the only thing I want to remind you of, what if we simplified down and we got this? 12 plus or minus 8 root 6 over 16. Can I simplify that any further? What you do is you look at this number, and that number. What is the biggest number that goes into 12, 8, and 16? 4. So I can take a 4 out of everything, which would give me 3 plus or minus 2 root 6 over 16. And notice, I didn't touch the root 6. Oh, it's not over 16. Jeez. It's not a number. It's just a reminder. So, you can only do that trick with the two numbers in front that go first and the denominator. You cannot touch the stuff inside the square root, because that's not really a 6. It's the square root of 6, which is like 2.3 or something like that. So you can't take a number out of the 6 because it's not really a 6. Okay? Okay, good luck.